Is Bitcoin freedom money? 500 Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin into a structure, that's obviously not what's going to be happening in Togo or in Malawi for an individual saver. It's not what's going to be happening in the United States.
In a world facing rising inflation, financial inequality, and global uncertainty, there's one digital asset quietly redefining the way we store and transfer value across the globe: Bitcoin. But it's not just about price or speculation. It's about what Bitcoin represents: freedom, security, and economic empowerment. We dive deep into the expert insights of Andrew Hohns, a seasoned voice in global finance and Bitcoin advocacy. His compelling argument for why Bitcoin is the ideal collateral in today's world reveals not only the power of the technology, but its profound human impact. Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space, and drop your comments and observations in the comment section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
Look, Bitcoin as ideal collateral, it's so good. It's finite. It's limited to 21 million. Already we're at 95% of all Bitcoin that has ever been issued has been issued, which makes new supply extremely scarce. It's fungible. No Bitcoin is different than any other Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin. It's the same in Virginia as it is in Vietnam. It is divisible. You can effortlessly divide Bitcoin into 100 million units, which means that at today's prices, there's the smallest unit. There's about 9 of them in a penny, which is, pretty finely cut if you think about it from that point of view. It's weightless, so it's very easy to transport from place to place. It's extremely secure, protected by the largest computer network on Earth with extremely powerful encryption. It is liquid. It's trading 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's probably the most liquid asset in the world, as a matter of fact. And for all of these reasons, it is a superior way to store value across time and space. But before we go to the UK and China, let's just stick with Alex for a minute. He wrote in this essay, this is a great essay that he just published. It's called Is Bitcoin Freedom Money? And it was published by the Journal of Democracy just in the last few days. And he wrote at one point in that essay that most of Bitcoin's critics are located in the United States or in Europe, where they enjoy enormous financial privilege. And the privilege that they enjoy is not necessarily how much money someone may have, but even just access to a range of financial products. Like, for example, stocks or bonds, credit cards, car loans, small business loans, long-term mortgages.
Even just a bank account.
Even a bank account. And when you look at, about 1 billion people in the world are born into what he calls a global reserve currency. That corresponds to the US dollar, the euro, the yen, sterling, maybe the Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, Swiss franc. The other 7 billion people around the world are born into a currency that is practically useless beyond its borders.
Yeah.
And if you look at areas that are less developed in the world, like Malawi, as Alex Gladstein has helpfully pointed out, the best way that those individuals have to save is through either local paper currency, which is debasing very rapidly, inflating very quickly, away the value, sheet metal, which is extremely cumbersome, extremely conspicuous, subject to rust, not really easily divisible, very heavy, or cattle, which you literally have to feed in water, subject to disease, in order to recoup the value. You have to kill it. It's just not good. And now you take that person in Malawi, and as long as they have a cell phone with an internet connection, they now have the ability to invest and save in the best tool for investing and saving and protecting against inflation that humanity has ever known. And it's the same exact bundle of rights that someone would have if they invested in it in Minnesota. Minnesota is the same as Malawi. What else can you say that for? Nothing really, because there's nothing else around the world that actually spans that distance. And it's a profoundly democratic instrument. It has very, very strong implications for human rights and for global justice. And I think that I think it gives every reason to be optimistic about the way that people are using it. And of course, his essay is not only about financial access, but it's also about human rights activists that are operating within totalitarian regimes. It's about places that are dealing with the residue of colonialism, like Togo, which he discusses vis-a-vis the CFA. So very, very thoughtful individual and a very good and important voice for Bitcoin, in my opinion.
This scarcity alone makes Bitcoin resistant to inflation and manipulation, unlike fiat currencies which can be printed at will by central banks. It's also fungible. One Bitcoin is the same as any other, no matter where it is. Whether it's in Virginia or Vietnam, its value remains identical. This is a foundational quality in any sound form of money. Bitcoin is divisible into 100 million units called satoshis, or sats. At current prices, a single penny holds multiple sats, which means even people with minimal savings can participate. This level of granularity makes Bitcoin accessible, regardless of wealth.
Divisibility is helpful because it means, and when paired with some of Bitcoin's technology, like the Lightning Network, facilitating lower cost transfers of Bitcoin instantaneously, you can invest and save in Bitcoin, and you can scale it to what your needs are. I mean, for a large real estate developer in the United States that wants to integrate Bitcoin into their collateral package of a $500 million portfolio of real estate, maybe they're buying $60 million of Bitcoin collateral and they're actually adding, 500 Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin into a structure. That's obviously not what's going to be happening in Togo or in Malawi for an individual saver. It's not what's going to be happening in the United States for an individual saver. But the ability to, gradually build, 1,000 sats, 10,000 sats, 100,000 sats. I mean, pretty soon that will benefit from the overall dynamics of the broader Bitcoin market. One sat is the same value as any other sat, no matter how many sats it's surrounded by.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty profound statement in terms of savings technology. Another alternative would be to strengthen communities with Bitcoin. And I think that it's incumbent upon local governance councils, local business leaders, local voters, local politicians to say, how could we attract more vibrancy to this community? And one way to do it is to really lean in on Bitcoin, to encourage the businesses that are in the area to accept and save and integrate in Bitcoin, to maybe provide them with savings on permits or savings on business licenses or business taxes, create a Bitcoin free zone where people that are embracing the protocol are able to put more money back into the businesses, because Bitcoiners want to build. I mean, there's a deep yearning within the Bitcoin community to make a mark on civil society and on the built society around us, the built landscape. And then obviously on top of all of that, thinking about Bitcoin integrated financing solutions is very, very powerful. I mean, if you have a small restaurant or a gift shop or a service business like a dry cleaner, and you want to borrow $50,000 or 50,000 sterling for working capital or to purchase some equipment, and your interest rate is 8%, that would be 4,000 pounds of interest per year. Well, what if you did 60,000 pounds of a loan with an interest rate of 6%, that would be £3,600 of interest per year. So less interest per year. And we use the additional 10,000 sterling to add Bitcoin to the balance sheet of that dry cleaner or that butcher or that cheese store or that clothing store or whatever the business might be, that accountancy. And now that business has an uncorrelated treasury asset, the Bitcoin, which gives them the ability to manage through different economic circumstances in a way that is way different and way better. It's likely to appreciate over time, which is going to give them the ability to reinvest in that business, give them liquidity, whereas the business itself is hard to obtain liquidity from. And it can all be done while at the same time improving the cost of capital for the business, motivated by sharing in the Bitcoin upside. And so now you could say, well, what if we articulated a more comprehensive approach? The Massachusetts Economic Development Authority, MassDev, or the Pennsylvania, Industrial Development Corporation comes with a program to say we're going to revitalize main streets across the Commonwealth by infusing them with Bitcoin. And you just let time do its thing, because the incentive structure is very powerful as well. And so you're going to start to see people are going to repaint their facades. You're going to start to see that they're not going to tolerate, graffiti at all. And when it's nice, people don't want to put graffiti on it. It's the broken windows theory. What was the name of the police commissioner in New York? Bill Bratton or something. And, he had this idea that, you have to repair the window quickly, because if the window's broken, it just invites the next window and the next, and it's a slippery slope. And so when you can keep things up in a nice condition, then it's a virtuous cycle, but it requires maintenance.
Infuse Bitcoin into Main Street. Let local businesses access crypto-backed capital and let the network effect do its work. Over time, Bitcoin's built-in incentives, like scarcity and increasing value, create a virtuous cycle of investment and upkeep. As Hohns says, it's like the broken windows theory in urban policing. Fix small things, and the environment improves holistically. Except now, it's not just windows. It's businesses, jobs, communities, and futures. Thanks for watching our video, please. Like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Everything helps us grow.